Okay, let's see here. Let's make sure we're up and running everywhere. Today we're on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And hopefully we're working. All right, looks like we're up and running on all platforms pretty seamlessly for a change. Anyway, I'm your lawyer, Patrick McGeehan, and I'm your best friend at your worst time, and welcome to Monday Update. I have updates from what's going on with the court. As far as court orders go, there are no new court orders that I saw for Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach County, but there are some interesting things that are going on in our court systems in South Florida. For instance, in Broward County State Attorney's Office just recommended the release of a man serving a life sentence for a 2002 robbery. Apparently, their post-conviction relief unit is reviewing the case of Leonard Cure, who is 50, who was found guilty by jury of robbery with a firearm and aggravated assault with a firearm for a November 10th, 2003 robbery where he stole $1,700 in cash. He's a habitual felony offender and a prisoner release reoffender. The case was affirmed on appeal, and then the conviction review unit received a petition from the defendant in December and began to review his case. And strangely, the Broward County State Attorney's Office, and you don't see this too often, is recommending Mr. Cure be released from prison while they review the case. They say there's issues with how Cure became a suspect in the case, and there is no physical evidence linking him to the crime. That is always a problem. They're having a hearing Tuesday on the case. That's always a problem, and that indicates to me somebody who spoke too much to the police when they got stopped by the police or they got apprehended by the police. And that's going to be the subject of Wednesday's upcoming video about talking to the police on the live we were doing. Other interesting news coming out of Miami-Dade County. They had an article published in NBC6 South Florida. Coronavirus leads to custody battle for South Florida doctors. Apparently there's a doctor here in South Florida who is an emergency room doctor, and she's going through a divorce, and the husband filed an emergency motion to suspend her time sharing, and the judge agreed with him. That's in Miami-Dade County, and the judge is Bernard Shapiro, who is one of our family court judges. So basically what happened in this case is the husband or the dad filed a motion, an emergency motion, stating his reasons that he believed that time sharing with the parties, minor child and the mother should be suspended, alleging that she's an emergency room doctor, that she's has the potential to be exposed to the COVID-19 and to become infected and most likely thereby infect a child. The judge agreed with that and entered an order on the emergency motion. Now doesn't appear to have been a hearing on the emergency motion. It looks like they're going to set a hearing up, but he filed it ex parte, which means one party, they served it on mom's attorney, and the judge reviewed the motion, and based solely on that motion, he granted the motion and entered an order suspending the mom's time sharing. He also went on to say that it's COVID-19 related, and let me see what he says here. A full hearing on it later down the road, when I don't know. But in these types of cases, fortunately, we've had a couple of these issues come up because I represent a bunch of policemen, firemen, and 2 or 3 nurses, and it has come up in our cases several times over the past few weeks. Fortunately, we didn't have to go to this extent. We've been able to negotiate with the other party or the other party's attorney and get a resolution that was, worked for both of them. And we've always found, at least I've always found, that if you can reach a resolution on issues with the other party, it's always better, and you always get a better outcome than if a judge makes a decision after reviewing your case or your file for a few minutes and makes a ruling on it. So fortunately, we haven't had to go to this extent, and nobody else has gone to the extent in any of my cases as far as opposing counsel goes. We've been able to work out all those issues, which makes me very, very happy, because I hate seeing time sharing get suspended. In other news, rather interesting, in Broward County, Local 10 News is reporting in an article titled, "Judge to Lawyers, Please Get Out of Bed and Put on a Shirt for Zoom Court Hearings." Apparently, in Broward County, they're having a problem with lawyers being a little too casual as they show up to court on their Zoom hearings. And I'm doing a lot of Zoom hearings. I have Zoom face. You can see it on my page, my Facebook group, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, or any of those social media platforms. I think you'll get a kick out of that if you look at it. And I'll put links to these articles down in the comments when I edit the video so that you could see. Anyway, Judge Bailey from Broward County says they're a little too casual. He's seen lawyers in casual shirts and blouses with no concern for ill grooming in bedrooms with the master bed in the background. One male lawyer appeared shirtless, and one female attorney appeared smiling. Let's treat court hearings as court hearings, whether it's Zoom or not. So that's a little bit of comedy on our state of the stay-at-home order lockdown that we're all under. So how are you doing on the lockdown? We are entering week 5 here in Miami on our local lockdown as well as the state lockdown. And to tell you the truth, I'm getting tired of it. We're getting cases. More judges are coming online, and that is good. We're able to move a bunch of cases along. The judges that haven't come online, those cases are just lingering. But besides that, it is just, it's boring. I'm one of those people, since I go to court so much, I used to go out to eat sometimes twice a day. I have gone and picked up one pizza. I had a Wawa sub over the weekend, and I went to Burger King once because I was craving a Whopper. I've had Burger King in like 4 years, and for some reason I was craving a Whopper, so I hit the Burger King drive-thru, and that for the last 5 weeks. Otherwise, it's been sitting at home, walking the dog. Can't go out in the boat. I try to work on the trucks and the boat and the driveway and the garage and stuff, but we can't go out on the boat fishing because all the boat ramps are closed. All the wildlife management have any novel ideas about what to do during this lockdown, let me know, because I'm running out of ideas. I've basically hit the wall as far as coming up with entertaining things to do. And somebody just asked, I saw, for an update on the jail, so I'm going to look and see. The update on Miami-Dade County Jail is. I usually look on that before I get on, but I neglected to do that today. So let's take a look and see what's going on in the jails. All right, up until yesterday they had 53 inmates booked. That's a little bit more than we did last time. Let's go down here. Daily releases. Daily releases also 51, so they're letting out as many people as they are keeping in. The total inmates supervised 4,454. The in custody population is 3,348. That's really low for Miami-Dade County. And usually, like I said before, we usually average 150, 200, and between 150 and 250 arrests per day. And on Sunday, they only had 51 people arrested, and they released 51 people. So I'm assuming else. All right, over on YouTube, Jonathan's asking, so the mother is battling COVID-19 on the front lines, and all in this together is how the judge repaid her efforts of service. Yeah, I kind of came to that same impression a little bit. Like I said, I represent a lot of policemen, a lot of firemen, and a couple of nurses, and they are on the front lines, and some of the departments are not getting out a sufficient amount of equipment for these first responders, and it's concerning. When I was a policeman, we did hurricanes, riots, the whole 9 yards. Pretty good equipment, at least if not at the time, shortly thereafter. And it seems like a lot of these departments are lagging with the equipment necessary, with the shortage of masks and all that stuff. But we are also under a mask order here. If you go out to any type of business or out in public to any type of store, you have to be masked up. The N95 mask. I have a P100 respirator that I use for painting cars and stuff, so I can wear that. Also, fun to be a lawyer. I really enjoy it. I shoot deer. Hey, my wife wants to take my ex-wife. My wife wants to take my ex-wife to the vet. What do I do? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're asking, if you're asking about the VA or a veterinarian. So let me know. I shoot deer, and I'll see if I can answer that. All right, let me see if I have any other questions. SD grad student, think the CDC and or hospital admin will face liability in court over PPP issues and injury? That's a question that I've asked, and I'm trying to get a workers' comp lawyer to come on who's really knowledgeable about the orders and administrative orders and everything that the Department of Labor has issued. And I think that's going to be an emerging area of law related to this. Whether if you get infected and you sue for damages, whether it's OJI or workers' comp, or how it's going to be defined will determine what the liability is. All right, you just read an article on how companies like DoorDash and Grubhub are bad for restaurants. They take 30%. Yeah, it's my understanding they take a big slice of the orders. So they're probably, in order to survive, if we're all going to survive. Yeah, crime is down, I think, down here. I mean, at least the enforcement of crime. There's always a difference between the enforcement of crime and actual crime, and the third category is unreported crime. And they usually all vary pretty differently. But as far as the enforcement of crime in Miami-Dade County, at least, it is way down. Domestic violence is spiking. We're getting more calls on domestic violence than anything else at the moment. All right, 239 Flaghouse. You must be over in the West Coast. I teach night classes at my local jail. It's been on lockdown for a month and a half. Yep. I think all the jails are suspending visitations. I know as far as bondsmen going into the jail, they'll only permit one bondsman in at a time, and you have to be masked up with gloves to go in the jail to post a bond. So I'm sure, I mean, the jails are hotbeds for illness anyway, and it's terrible. 239 Flag Out, what do you teach at the jail? I'd be interested in knowing that. All right, let me see if I have anything else. That looks like it as far as questions. Looks like I've picked up all the questions on formats. Jonathan's asking again. Two kids don't want to go to the ex-wife. How will that work? For now, everything's suspended. So, I mean, if there's an order in place, the way it stands now, absent another court order from the last orders that the administrative judge issued, like in Miami-Dade County a couple weeks ago, everything's suspended. Some judges are coming online to have hearings, and everything goes by the last order or the final judgment that was entered in the case previously, unless you file some type of emergency motion or other type of motion. Everything relates back to the last order entered or the final judgment. Have you heard how law schools plan to do during finals? A little harder than undergrad finals. I don't know what they're doing with law schools. I know a couple people that are taking grad school that were in grad school, and everything has moved online at the University of Florida, and I'm sure all the other schools are doing that also. I did read something a week or so back about the Florida bar putting off the summer bar exam, which happens in July, I think it is, putting off the summer bar exam until September, which is going to be a big mess. Not to say, stressful in the least. Hi, Irish. Thanks for checking in from Washington. Always good to see you. Again, if you have some ideas on how to entertain yourself or to deal with this, let me know. We're all in this together. I'm looking for, things to do recreationally. I've about worn myself out. I can only, restring fishing rods and, repair boat motors and wash cars as much as possible. It's getting a little boring. Again, we are all in this together. We will all make it out, and I think we'll be better for it. But I am interested in seeing how people from other parts of the country are dealing with this and hearing those stories. And you can see right there, that's my vice president in charge of happiness. The dog is running around the office today. He's coming out and joining me for the live. Although he doesn't want to get on camera, apparently. He's going to sit down there and stare at me. Anyway, how people in other parts of the country are dealing with this, I mean, it's a great time. I was thinking just yesterday, it'd be a great time to take off somewhere and just work remotely while this whole thing is going on, but there's no place to go because all the campgrounds are closed. Most of the hotels are not renting rooms to people who, from my understanding, for people who don't have a reason to be out in the hotel to begin with. So the stay-at-home order is definitely putting a damper on our lives. So share how you're dealing with it. If you have anything novel, let me know. Maybe I'll adopt it. And let's see. Somebody says that the California thing's suspended and anything going to happen at least until June 1st. There's talk amongst lawyers in town, lawyers I've talked to where we can go back to court in person and move our cases along that way. And then it becomes, how are they going to deal when a hurricane actually hits us? And they close courts for a week or two. It takes a long time to get through that backlog of cases. And now we're backed up, 5 weeks. And what's different now is we're still filing cases. Lawyers are still filing cases, still filing motions and pumping up the work, and the courts aren't able to resolve those. Thank God they finally came online. More judges are coming online, and we're doing more Zoom hearings every day. But you can only do so much in a Zoom hearing. One of the things that is noticeable about Zoom is if you have an objection, when a person's talking, if you have an objection, you can't always get the objection out before the audio is released for the judge to rule on the objection. So that's one of the things that was frustrating in a hearing we had this morning. So it's definitely an interesting time, unprecedented time for sure. And but we'll get through it. We always do. I'm sure we've gone through worse, wars and depressions and stuff like that. But I think it's, it needs to come to an end sooner rather than later, because the longer it goes on, the worse it's going to get. And I hope they can safely, resolve it sooner rather than later, or it's going to get hairy for a bunch of people. I have clients that are already calling me about having problems paying credit card bills and car payments, and I'm telling them, hey, contact the creditors. They know. It's not like you're going through this alone. We're all in the same boat together. We're all having these same problems. So get a hold of the mortgage companies, the car loan companies, the banks, the creditors, and see what you can work out with them. I hear conferencing with clients privately during hearings is problematic too. Yes, excuse me. Yes, it is, because of FaceTime. And I can mute the Zoom, and my client can mute the Zoom, speak to my client, or we can text back and forth and then rejoin the audio on the Zoom. That's one thing that we've figured out how to do, or set up another Zoom meeting. But I've just been using FaceTime, and it's worked out really, really well, because you just got to make sure that you mute one while you're on the other, and vice versa, or you get the audio feedback from one to the other. But yeah, it's a problem. And supposedly you can go in like separate rooms and stuff, but it hasn't been working well lately. But the FaceTime, the outside FaceTime, has been doing a good job. I think that's it. I think I caught everything. Yeah, you are going to see, I think, increased requirements for getting a home mortgage, and I think credit is going to become an issue here in the very very near future. I think the potential to see housing values go down, mortgage money, credit dry up, and I just don't know. I mean, that's my prediction from the things I'm hearing and seeing. I'm not an economist, of course, and numbers are a lawyer's worst enemy, but I can see that coming also. All right, I appreciate everybody that checked in today on all three formats. I'm very humbled that you take time out of your day to check in and speak with me. I hope I provide you valuable information on the Monday updates. Just a reminder, I'll be on Wednesday for my weekly live here at 6 p.m. I will be on YouTube, TikTok, and probably Facebook. I'm trying to get Instagram up and running in addition to them, but I keep having problems with my my other phone that I use just for social media and doing all this together. I guess I'm using up too much bandwidth through my Wi-Fi running these three outlets here. But I'll be on Wednesday, 6 p.m., and we'll be discussing talking with the police. I've done a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel about talking to the police and the bad things that can come from it, but I'm still getting a lot of questions about it. How to deal with the police when they contact you, whether it's on a traffic stop or out somewhere in public. And I'll be discussing that on Wednesday, 6 p.m. on our Law on the Life Live. Additionally, if you want to follow me on other social media platforms, I'm on all of them. On Facebook, I have my law office webpage, the Law Offices of Patrick McGeehan, the business page. I have a Facebook group. It's a private group. If you ask to join, I'll approve you to join. Get a lot of good questions answered there. It's called Ask a Florida Divorce Lawyer. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr as the Magic City Lawyer, and of course on LinkedIn under Patrick McGeehan. Feel free to follow me on any of those platforms. You'll get all the updated information, and I will put links to the articles I discussed in the comments section or the description section down below when I edit this video later tonight. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Be kind. You never know what people are going through, and a lot of people are going through a difficult time now. So if you could be kind, you can help somebody out. The good karma will come your way in the end, I promise. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope to see you Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Sound is only for people who are over 50.